Now, if you've ever wondered about the nip and tuck industry, then you're in for a treat this morning. Our next discussion focuses on the beauty and cosmetics industry and why there's a rising demand from the South African market. Although many elective procedures took a backseat over the last year due to COVID-19, the demand for medical aesthetic procedures continues. For more insight into this growing trend, I'm joined via Zoom by Dr S'lindile Ndwalane, and she is a specialist dermatologist at the Laser and Cosmetic Institute in Johannesburg. Dr. Ndwalane, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Good morning.
Now, it's good to have you on the show this morning, Dr. Ndwalane. Let's perhaps start with understanding what medical aesthetic procedure is.
Okay, so basically medical aesthetic procedures are treatments or procedures that are part of cosmetic dermatology. So they are used in combination with medical and surgical treatments for the cosmetic side of things. So it corrects things like aging and pigmentation and scarring, which are not necessarily medical conditions that need active treatment. So it's just for general well-being of the skin and to make sure you look good and there's a glow and it keeps you looking younger.
Let's talk about these latest trends in medical aesthetic procedures and why the South African market is climbing on this bandwagon.
Okay, so the aesthetics industry is growing globally, not just in South Africa. And South Africa has also caught on the bandwagon, and it's projected that it will grow by 11.5% in the next 5 years. And that's simply because people are becoming more aware of them. And there's more awareness on newer technologies and newer devices that are coming into the market. And these devices and these treatments are pretty much non-invasive with very little downtime, and the results are extremely effective and extremely satisfying. So I think also with the rise in social media presence and social media awareness around these things, people are becoming more aware of it. And people are looking for convenience, so they would rather just pay for a treatment that takes them 15 minutes instead of putting in the work for hours and hours at the gym, for example.
Yeah. And what have you picked up as the most popular trends that the South African market is adopting when it comes to medical aesthetic procedures? So
there is the vampire facials, which have become famous over the last couple of years. It was made famous by Kim Kardashian. So that has become quite popular. Alongside that is microneedling and the use of chemical peels, which are deeply exfoliating facials that use chemical substances to exfoliate the skin and generate new skin cells, which keeps the skin looking younger. Because as you age and with the poison, the toxins and the pollution and the effects of the UV rays from the sun, the skin cell turnover decreases over time. So that makes you age quicker. So these procedures help to stimulate new cell growth, and which increases the cell turnover and keeps the skin looking younger. Mm-hmm. But also what's coming into becoming more trendy is the use of devices, which is your lasers, your radio frequency devices, and your ultrasound devices, which also help with stimulating new cell growth, which it basically works on different energies to create a controlled injury to the skin and to the muscles, which then triggers a response and a repair process, which triggers new cell, new collagen, new elastic fiber growth. And that also helps to keep the skin firm, and looking younger. It helps with scarring, it helps with pigmentation, and fine lines and wrinkles.
And doctor, how do you always make sure that you achieve maximum results and your patients are satisfied with these results? I mean, there's been questions about whether these procedures are permanent. I mean, why do you always have to go through the knife to maintain them?
Well, the procedures are not really permanent, but they do last long. Some last up to 5 years. But the skin is constantly growing as you age. So no procedure is going to be permanent, because there's permanent exposure to toxins and there's permanent exposure to UV rays. So you will have some damage even after the procedures are done, but they are quite long lasting. And the effects of it depend on what procedure you are using. For example, with Botox lasts typically about 3 to 4 months, because it's meant to be temporary weakening of the muscle. And after some time, the muscle goes back to working normally. Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned with the new devices now, it's not as invasive. So it's not going under the knife. It's basically you are just lying on a bed. There's a machine that's put on that muscle or whatever area of your body you're targeting, and it works over a couple of minutes. Yeah. And the effects are as long-lasting as going under the knife, basically, which is why more and more people are opting for it, because it's less invasive.
Yeah, and I understand that one of your focus areas is the use of stem cells and the platelet-rich plasma. Talk to us about that and how stem cells and one's own platelets are used to fight aging.
So basically, that's our PRP microneedling procedure. So platelet-rich plasma is taken from your own blood. So your blood is drawn, it's put through a machine called the centrifuge, which spins it, and it separates the plasma, the platelet-rich plasma, from the red blood cells. And then the platelets, or the plasma with the platelets, is then injected back into your skin, either using a small needle or a microneedling device. And this platelet-rich plasma is very rich in growth factors and stem cells, which stimulate new cell growth, new collagen growth, and new elastic fibers. And that's what helps with keeping the skin firm and plump and reducing fine lines and wrinkles. It also works on the cells that produce pigment. So it works on pigmentation, and it works on scars as well, because of the collagen that is stimulated.
And I think one of the major concerns out there is just how safe these procedures are.
They are pretty safe. There is a lot of studies and a lot of research that has gone into it, and they have been shown to be pretty safe. And the downtime with them is actually minimal. I mean, there is a bit of redness, a bit of swelling, and a bit of exfoliation or scaling after the procedure for a few days, a day or two. But after that, there really has not been any major side effects that have been detected with these procedures.
All right, Dr. S'lindile,
and that is why people are opting.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. We're out of time, unfortunately, but it's a great pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. That was Dr. S'lindile Ndwalane. She is a specialist dermatologist, and we're just talking about the rising demand in South Africa for medical beauty procedures. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly.